Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
Prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, this is Jessie. I am so happy to be back with you guys. Now, before I even get started, yes, I know I'm running a few minutes late again tonight. Don't ask. Although, it was part of a special something I was working on for you guys. So, just kind of give me a pass, and you'll find out more if you tune into Saturday Slowdown. Alright, I gotta get rid of Mr. Frog, so we're gonna take a quick drink of water, and then we're gonna get going with the rest of the show. Hey, I'm human, and I've been talking for close to 3 hours now. Alright. As my friends and husband put it, we mere mortals are not affected by the UN General Assembly. And I'm going to have to say that, not directly, but one of my favorite topics. Come on. You know what country I'm referring to that spoke today? Yeah, North Korea. Alright, I think I've gotten past some of the hello, how are you, thank you this person, thank you that person. I think I've got it queued up to the right spot. We're going to take a brief listen to some of this audio because it ties into some of the other news stories I have for you today.
Mr. President, peace and security are the permanent theme of the United Nations.
By the way, this is the voice of a translator. I don't know anybody that speaks Korean who's a listener. Maybe there's a couple of you out there, but this is the voice of the translator. I did get the English version of the audio straight from the UN, so this is not edited.
Sustainable Development Goals presuppose peace and security. Even at this very moment when the UN aspires after transformation for sustainable development, the world is besieged with wild wind of terrorism, sweeping refugee crisis due to disturbances of war and increasing global hotspots instead of their fall. Among them, the Korean Peninsula has now been turned into the world's most dangerous hotspot, which can even ignite the outbreak of a nuclear war. Peaceful environment is the foremost prerequisite for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which has embarked on the implementation of its 5-year strategy for national economic development to re-energize overall economy and lay the foundation for its sustainable development. As the international community witnesses every year, the situation on the Korean Peninsula is often engulfed in a state that goes out of control, whose root cause squarely lies in the United States, which does not abandon its hostile policy towards the DPRK but hold aggressive war exercises one after another in and around the Korean Peninsula. The large joint military.
For those of you who are unaware, we do hold multiple exercises on the joint exercises with the Korean. Well, hello, Mr. Frog. We do hold multiple joint exercises with the Korean military, the ROK, Republic of Korea Army, several times a year on the Korean Peninsula. That is an undisputed claim. These exercises are because, to quote the motto of the DMZ guards that I met, we're in front of them all. They are literally in the buffer zone between two countries who are still technically at war. I say technically because there is an armistice, which is basically an overgrown version of a ceasefire. There was never a peace treaty signed. There are still families who separated during this war. You know, they fought brother against brother, father against son, and these families have not seen each other. And when you get down to the generation that actually fought the Korean War, these families are dying out. Soon it will be too late to ever hope to see their living relatives again. And the governments haven't agreed on how to let these families see each other. I'm not going to try and delve into that issue at this point, whether the North Koreans blocking it, the South Koreans blocking it, whatever. There is actually this whole building up at the DMZ designed for family reunifications and visits. It has never been used. That's as far as I'm going to go into this issue. Alright, I'm going to fast forward past some of this stuff and see if I can pick up based on the text right where I want. So bear with me.
exercises conducted by the United States during the period of March to April and August to September this year were extremely provocative, massive military maneuvers involving troops of over 500,000 and strategic assets, including strategic nuclear bombers and strategic nuclear submarines, which are more than enough to wage an all-out war in terms of their scale. These exercises are thoroughly offensive and aggressive nuclear war exercises in their nature, as they mainly include operation of high-precision strike, commander infiltration, landing and preemptive nuclear strike aimed at decapitation of the leadership of the DPRK and occupation of Pyongyang.
All right. On that note, sometimes if you're paranoid that they're out to get you, you might be right. And I've got an audio clip here. Make sure I've got the right one. I have a number of North Korean audio clips today, so if I grab the wrong one, we'll just grab the next one.
North Korea could be the biggest global headache facing the next U.S. president. Here's why. It's a real and growing nuclear threat, not only to the region, but potentially the world. Their leader, Kim Jong-un, is relentless. Sanctions and warnings have done little to slow his nuclear ambition. In fact, he's accelerated his weapons program. Kim wants an arsenal of nuclear missiles capable of hitting the U.S., and he's developing missiles that can be fired from submarines and mobile launchers, making them really hard to track. So the next U.S. president faces two challenges. One, trying to convince North Korea's unpredictable young leader to give up his nukes, and the other challenge is to be prepared for any scenario, including an attack.
All right, that was Will Ripley, CNN, and let's try the audio clip above it. I think that may actually be the one I'm after. Because like I said, I have a number of them today. And you know me, I'm lousy at labeling my audio clip, but that's what makes the show fun.
South Korea is sending a stark message to the North. It's preparing to assassinate North Korean leader Kim Jong-un if Seoul feels threatened by a nuclear attack. Here's CNN's Paula Hancock with more.
The fact that there is a South Korean assassination plan against the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has not actually surprised many, at least here in Seoul. What is more surprising is the fact that the Defence Minister, Han Min-koo, has been quite so candid about it. Now, this happened back on Wednesday. It was a meeting within Parliament, and the Defence Minister was asked by a lawmaker, are you creating a special forces unit to eliminate Kim Jong-un? A very blunt question. His answer was equally blunt. He said, yes, we do have such a plan. Also went on to talk about the precision missile capabilities which would target the enemy's facilities and take out the leadership. Now, this is if they are feeling particularly threatened by North Korea's nuclear weapons. Now, we've really seen a slight change in the past couple of weeks since September 9th and that fifth nuclear test by North Korea, where they claim to have tested a nuclear warhead. Within hours of that test, we heard from the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff that they had a plan. There was a plan, if necessary, in a time of war, to take out the leadership. Now, of course, we're hearing these quotes from the Defence Minister this week. So is North Korea, and they are not happy about what they're hearing about these threats to their leadership. We've heard from state-run media KCNA. They are quoting a spokesperson from the KPA, from the North Korean military, saying that they are going to wipe out Seoul and reduce it to rubble. Now, this isn't the first time that they've said that kind of thing and threatened Seoul in that way, but they've also said that they're going to wipe Guam off the map. Now, the reason for this, they've threatened Washington, New York, other US states before, but they're threatening Guam because over the past couple of weeks there have been two separate flyovers from US bombers, B-1B bombers that are based in Guam, and just last week there were bombers which actually flew close to the DMZ, the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. A US military source telling me that that is the closest this kind of bomber has ever got to North Korea. So North Korea is not happy by what it is saying. Of course, South Korea is now looking to see whether or not it is just a verbal reaction they're going to see from North Korea. They've already said that they believe North Korea is ready for nuclear test number 6. Paula Hancock's CNN Seoul.
All right, now why do I bring all this up? Because we're watching Iran and Korea for nuclear tests and weapons. As I've mentioned before, and unless you live under a rock, you've heard me say this, Iran and North Korea are cooperating. Hello, good morning, wake up, smell the coffee. Yes, Mr. Frog is really strong today. Alright. North Korea's ground test of a powerful liquid-fueled engine on September 20th that launched, and the launch of 3 modified Scud missiles earlier this month renewed allegations that Pyongyang and Tehran are collaborating on ballistic missile development. Now, the accusations are mostly speculative, based on apparent similarities of both the ballistic missiles, satellite launchers, appearing in both Iran and North Korea. We don't have a detailed examination, and what they're saying is a detailed examination of the design employed by the two countries cast doubt on that claim. The two countries are developing missiles and satellite launchers together. It says that Pyongyang and Tehran may share test data on a limited basis and trade conceptual ideas. Alright, what's the background on this? Alright? Short version, Iran cities and petroleum infrastructure were repeatedly attacked by Baghdad, which possessed a sizable arsenal of Soviet-supplied aircraft and Scud-B missiles, blah blah blah. And they lacked reliable access to skilled technicians and spare parts to maintain and fly its Western stuff, so it turned to the Soviet-era stuff. And the transactional relationship between Iran and North Korea continued throughout the 90s. Pyongyang provided missile maintenance infrastructure and training. And Pyongyang has supplied Tehran with medium-range no-dong missiles, which Iran dubbed Shahab-3. When Tehran test-fired at Shahab-3 in July 1998. It was only the second known launch of a no-dong, with North Korea having successfully flown the missile just once in 1993. Iran continued to test-fly the Shahab-3, as did Pakistan, another recipient of the no-dong, which it calls the Gurai. Preliminary flight trials conducted by Iran and Pakistan showed promise, though Iran was concerned that Shahab-3's maximum range was less than 1,000 kilometers. Consequently, Tehran engineers and missile specialists modified the Shahab-3 to create a 1,600-kilometer range Ghadar missile, which was initially test flown in 2004. Alright. First, you've got the Shahab-3 no-dong. Alright? Secondly, you've got the focus on solid propellant technology. Yes. And I'm discussing the launch of its submarine-launched ballistic missile, the KN-11. And some people will say that that is nearly the same as Iran's two-stage medium-range Sajil missile. The next most often cited observations is that Tehran and Pyongyang are cooperating on development of large rockets used to loft satellites into orbit. Now, I don't have any concrete evidence, but when you look at the images of, and I've pulled this up on 38north.org, the no-dong and the Shahab-3 and the Ghadar and the new no-dong, guess what? There's a lot of similarities. The fins are a little different, but not by much. And they're basically a lot the same. I mean, and there was the appearance of the solid-fueled KN-11 is one of the reasons that people say Iran may have aided Pyongyang's efforts. Alright? Because North Korea doesn't have the experience developing and producing solid fueled missiles. Alright, the largest solid rocket motor manufactured by Pyongyang before 2016 weighs only a metric ton and propels the KN-02 missile, and that's a copy of the Soviet Tachka. The KN-02 has a maximum range of about 100 kilometers. Though versions of the original Tachka can reach beyond 120 kilometers. In April 2016, North Korea conducted a ground test of a large solid-fueled motor and test-launched at least 2, not 1, but 2, solid propellant missiles from an underwater platform, likely its Borei-class submarine. The KN-11 submarine-launched ballistic missile is a two-stage system. Each stage consists of a solid propellant rocket motor substantially larger than any tested by North Korea before the April ground test. Alright, so they went from April with a ground test to a launch how many months later? Let's just say quick. Alright, let's just say quick. Many observers note the similarity between the satellite launch vehicles, or SLVs, used by Iran and North Korea. They speculate that the two countries are collaborating in a large rocket development. It is true that the Taedong SLV-1 SLV launched by Pyongyang in the 1998 and Iran's Safar SLV, which is satellite launch vehicle, have first stages powered by the Nodong engine. It's also true that the first stage of North Korea's Yuha SLV and Iran's Simorgh SLV use a cluster of 4 Nodong engines, and the uppermost stages of both SLVs are propelled by the steering engines originally employed by the now retired Soviet R-27 SLBM. But a closer look at the SLVs reveals differences inconsistent with close cooperation. The most obvious difference is that the 2 North Korean SLVs operate using 3 stages, whereas Iran's are 2 stages. Alright, let me break away from the article for just a moment. I'm wondering, and this is going out on a limb, and this is pure speculation on my part, could Iran be testing one version and North Korea the other, and then they meet and compare notes? I certainly wouldn't put it past them. In November 2013, Bill Gertz reported that Iranian missile technicians had visited North Korea in secret to jointly develop a new 80-ton rocket booster for long-range missiles or satellite launch vehicles. 2 months later, the U.S. Treasury Department issued sanctions against several persons and entities, including the Shahid Hemet Industrial Group, or SHIG, the firm responsible for development of Iran's liquid fuel missiles, and 2 individuals, Syed Mohammad Nushin and Syed Medidi Farhai. The Treasury Department notice specifically mentions that Nushin and Farhai had traveled to North Korea, and that the 2 have been critical to the development of the 80-ton rocket booster. Alright, so I'm wondering if they're both testing different variations, just so to keep us on our feet. Yeah, I'm not happy with North Korea. I'm definitely not happy with their nuclear program. And believe it or not, we are almost at the bottom of the hour. And I'm going to pull up just for a brief moment. Basically, the North Koreans want us to stop our joint military exercises. Even though they keep threatening war over the slightest insult. And I will air some more of these clips from the UN General Assembly, but what I'm going to do for Saturday Slowdown, I'm going to take 2 opposing countries' views. We'll take North and South Korea, for example, and where they speak on the same topic. I'm going to air it and mention a couple of the news articles that have recently brought this topic up. Now, of course, the United States raises the issue of human rights of North Korea. It finds itself at a loss in dealing with the nuclear issue. And they don't mention the fact that they are horrific on human rights. I mean, they really are. But they go, I'm only bringing this up because you're tired of dealing with our nukes. Alright. Now, it does go on to say, however, the United States will never, ever deprive our people of socialism of their own choice and its system of absolute service for the people themselves. And the concluding paragraph is, the government of the DPRK will push ahead with the vigorous struggle to remove the root cause of the threat of nuclear war imposed by the United States by means of powerful nuclear deterrence. Safeguard the peace and security of the Korean Peninsula, Asia, and the world at large, and to denuclearize the world. Alright, I'm gonna call BS. If you guys want to denuclearize the world, why are you building nuclear power plants and nuclear weapons? I mean, really? Why? Why? That's all I want to know. Alright, with that note, we are at the bottom of the hour. And I am going to ask you to hang in there with me through this commercial break.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
Down if you wanna, you can run away if you wanna, you can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna, you can play dead if you wanna, forget what they say, and if you wanna, turn your back on the country needing you right now, but I don't wanna.
Alright, thank you for hanging in there with me over that commercial break. Alright, now, why do I bring all of this North Korea stuff up during the UN General Assembly week? Well, for those of you who don't know, the UN has what they call a Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. And because they want a safer, more secure, more peaceful planet. Alright? Alright. Now, here's the interesting thing about the Test Ban Treaty. The U.S. remains one of the holdouts among the 44 countries that are designated, quote, nuclear capable. And the holdouts are United States, China, Egypt, India, Iran, Israel, North Korea, and Pakistan. Now, North Korean leaders are in no mood to ratify anytime soon, with Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho vowing his country will expand its nuclear capabilities in defiance of multiple UN Security Council resolutions. And he also condemned Washington for flying 2 supersonic bombers over South Korea early this week, vowing, quote, the United States will have to face tremendous consequences beyond imagination. Alright, have we all agreed North Korea is a paper tiger, more or less? But if they actually do have a nuclear missile, that could be a problem. Even without the ratification, the UN already polices the world for any sign of nuclear tests, with a global network of monitoring stations that pick up seismic signals and gases released by such event. But until those 8 countries embrace the treaty, it is supposed to administer. It cannot go on site to inspect for tests. The White House has 17 years ago did lobby the Congress for support. However, it was shot down. And I will say it was mostly shot down by Republicans, because I've got quotes here from Senator Tom Cotton and James Lankford. They declared this year that the treaty should remain dead. It is dead. It should remain dead. And they said it would allow U.S. rivals to cheat while diminishing American security in an increasingly hostile world. Alright? Alright. Kerry said the U.S. administration is already doing what it can, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but that's why I mentioned this during UN General Assembly week. Alright, yes, I've got a lot of North Korea, but North Korea ain't the only thing I got. Alright. Who's my other favorite topic? Come on. Come on, I know you know. And if you say Iran, ding, 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 you are right. Now, let me see if I can pull this up quick, fast, and in a hurry, because I do not have it prepped. I have it downloaded, but I haven't prepped it. Oh, I don't even have it downloaded. We're going to have to work quick. but I'm quick like that. I wanted to pull some of the audio from Iran's speaking at the General Assembly today. Yes, Iran also spoke today. That's why you haven't heard any of their stuff yet, because guess what? And technically they're the Islamic State of Iran. Alright, give me just a minute. And if any audio starts, I'm going to apologize in advance. I am trying to grab this quick, fast, and in a hurry. And the speaker for Iran was Rouhani himself. Luckily, it's a quick audio file. And thankfully, audio files don't take long to prep. Alright. Now, in case you're wondering, all of these speeches are long. This one is 20 minutes. If you think we're going to spend the rest of the show listening to Rouhani, guess what? Wrong answer. What I am doing is flipping through the PDF files real quick. And looking for those one or two nuggets. Alright. Let's see if I can get this right. I'm taking a guess.
Ladies and gentlemen, Iran's principled approach calls for constructive partnership with our neighbors with a view to establishing an enduring order based on shared security and efforts aimed at enhancing the development of the countries in the region and mutually beneficial economic cooperation. To uproot violence in the region, there is no choice but to focus on promoting democracy, citizenship rights, and economic development.
Alright, so I didn't quite get it right. Let's try the next major break.
The experience acquired through dialogue between Iran and the Group of 5+1 and the fruition of the...
Close to where I want it. Let's try that.
Excellencies, despite today's difficulties, I have hope in tomorrow. I have no doubt that we can prevail through prudence and wisdom. The experience acquired through dialogue between Iran and the Group of 5+1 and the fruition of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, are indicative of the success that we could achieve through moderation, constructive interaction, and the promotion of dialogue, a policy that brought a long and complicated and unnecessary crisis to an end by adopting a win-win approach. This deal confirmed the peaceful nature of Iran's nuclear program through devising confidence-building mechanisms, closing the so-called possible military dimensions file, and reinstating Iran's right to develop a peaceful nuclear program. This deal also put an end to unfounded concerns and led to the removal of the brutal sanctions against Iran. Beyond the nuclear file, however, the JCPOA contains important lessons for resolving complicated international problems. This deal is not only a political agreement, it also represents a creative approach and method for constructive interaction with a view to peacefully resolving crises and challenges. To learn lessons from the JCPOA and put them towards improving international relations, we should never forget that pressures, sanctions, and illegal threats against the Iranian people, which sought to fully dismantle Iran's enrichment program, were all defeated. And today, the Security Council and the International Atomic Energy Agency have formally accepted Iran's peaceful nuclear program.
All right, I gotta love how Iran calls out the nuclear deal. But then yet, on the other side of the coin, they accuse the U.S. of not living up to the deal? I mean, really? Can we say Iran speaks with forked tongue? Because on one hand they go, oh, what a great deal we've got. We've got the best deal. And then they go, U.S. ain't living up to it. U.S. ain't living up to it. And then here they are on the floor of the United Nations going, what a great deal. We're accepted. We're fine. We're great. And then in a week or two, I'm willing to bet you they're back to going, U.S. isn't living up to their end of the deal. Our sanctions aren't disappearing fast enough. Now, if you are not a regular listener to this show, you may not know my opinion of the Iran nuke deal. Alright? So, I'm going to sum it up in one quick thing. The Iran nuclear deal is a farce. It is not worth the paper it is printed on. Iran has cheated since the U.S. originally put sanctions on them in 79 and 80. What, we think the Leopard is suddenly going to change its spots and stop cheating? Hey, Host Kitty, you think the Leopard's going to change its spots? I'll take that as a no, Host Kitty. Alright. So, what can I say? But yeah. Not a smart move. Alright. This is just nuts. Now, for those of you that remember the UN aid convoy that was bombed, remember, we say it was one group, they say it was another. Nobody can make up their bloomin' minds. And I believe I've got this audio prepped. NBC got an interview with Assad on this very issue. And now, I wasn't able to find the absolute complete unedited interview. Alright. But this is one of those things that I wanted you to hear, and it will probably take us almost the rest of the show, but we are going to listen to it because I feel it's important. And by the way, this is Turkey's President Erdogan that's being interviewed. And if you pull out your rusty, trusty scorecards, remember, Russia is propping up Assad, Turkey's on our side, and we're using a Turkey airbase to launch attacks against ISIS. Turkey and Russia are frenemies. They're trying to reestablish regular negotiations and regular economic projects. Alright, I believe I've got the right audio pulled up.
There was a lot of talk this week about a potential ceasefire that was signed or agreed to within the last 2 weeks. Is the ceasefire in Syria dead?
Well, unfortunately, it is a stillborn baby. A period of 48 hours was initiated, and then a week was discussed if the first 48 hours was a successful one, but it never happened. The cessation of hostilities was significantly interrupted.
That was Turkey's President Erdogan talking about the viability of the ongoing ceasefire in Syria. It came crashing to an end as Russia, Syria, and the U.S. point fingers over who was really responsible for a deadly attack on an aid convoy. But for President Erdogan, there is little question.
The killer responsible for that attack is Assad's regime itself. And this bombing was performed by Assad's regime, at the end of which we have once again clearly seen the character, the identity of Assad's regime in Syria. This region in question should have been officially declared as a no-fly zone. And unfortunately, no leader from around the world seem to have agreed. They have been talking about this necessity from time to time, but no concrete step had been taken forward.
Do you see that the American policy on Assad has changed from the beginning and now? Do you believe that maybe they're trying to, now that they're working with the Russians, maybe creating a space for Assad to stay and work with another solution down the line?
600,000 insanın askeri.
At least 600,000 people were killed in Syria, and the sole responsible for those killings is the person that you referred to. Do you think we can still keep him in charge in Syria? If we do, this is very disrespectful to the 600,000 people who have fallen. How are we going to ask for repentance from those 600,000 people who have died if we keep Assad in power?
Joining us now, MSNBC correspondent Ayman Mouldeen. Ayman, first of all, incredible get, that interview. And the reason is because Turkey really presents a number of different challenges to the entire dynamic. Could you please first explain those? Turkey's problematic.
Yeah, I mean, there are two issues with Turkey. One, obviously, the geopolitics of what's taking place in the region, and that is Syria. Obviously, it's a major cornerstone of regional security for NATO, so that's a big part of that security umbrella. But then there is the concern from Western countries, particularly the United States, in terms of what is happening inside of Turkey, in terms of rolling back any democratic gains, any criticisms on press freedoms, human rights. So it poses this duality for the United States, where on one hand, America and the West want to see Turkey thrive as a democracy. They need its help. It's a strategic partner. That's something that's reinforced by President Erdogan. But at the same time, even within the conflict of Syria, they know that there have been problems for a long time. Foreign fighters were stemming through the borders, flowing through the borders into Syria. There was some criticism that the Turkish government was turning a blind eye to that while they were trying to prop up the opposition to fight the Assad regime. And that has turned back and kind of bit everyone in the rear end, so to speak, because of all the foreign fighters that have now joined ISIS.
And I understand you had a chance to talk about the election here with him. I'm wondering what his thoughts were on
Yeah, he's a very savvy politician, and we asked him, who would he prefer to see in the White House? And obviously he kind of dodged that question. But interestingly enough, I spoke to him about one of the issues, obviously Turkey being a Muslim country, one of the most influential Muslim countries. I asked him specifically about Donald Trump's ban on Muslims. Take a listen to what he said. But if Donald Trump becomes president, would you advise Turkish citizens or recommended Turkish citizens no longer to come to the U.S. since he's calling on a ban of Muslims coming into the United States?
Bu tür şeylerin olacağını zerre kadar
I don't think that this is remotely possible.
Siyaset
because
uzun sesli bir
politics
maratondur.
Is a marathon.
Bir maraton.
And it's
birçok şeyler
a long process. Many things can be said throughout the rallies before elections, and things will turn out to be very different post-elections. No political figure, no politician in this world is confined to their own local grounds.
Who would have a better relationship with Turkey when they become president, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? Who do you think would be better for Turkey?
Well, you are entrapping me, and I'm not going to fall into that trap. The best thing for me is to see the will of the people being served in the United States. The choice of the American people will be the right choice. I believe democracy more than anything else.
far from being weakened by the attempted coup in what was July 15th, right?
Yeah, that.
He seems strengthened both domestically and on the international stage. What was your impression?
He's certainly very comfortable right now. He's very confident that the way he described it is that Turkish democracy has survived because the people of Turkey have been able to put down this coup. He was very critical of the West for harboring terrorists. You know, there's this ongoing, or who he alleges are terrorists, there's this ongoing dispute with the U.S. in terms of wanting to extradite somebody they believe was involved in planning and masterminding that coup. So he had some sharp words for some Western leaders, particularly the U.S., for not turning him over. Fethullah Gulen.
Howard.
I got a quick one for you. So, very interesting, I noticed he never mentioned Russia as one of the Russians bombed the convoy. He didn't say it. He didn't mention it. And we know that he's trying to make nice with Russia. Did you get him to talk about Russia's role in Syria?
So we asked him specifically about the convoy, and there was, obviously you heard yesterday the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying that they believe Russia was responsible, right, even though that the Assad regime may have been the one that dropped the bombs. And I think he was taking the position that it was the Assad regime that is responsible for everyone dying in there. So to your point, in recent months there has been a rapprochement between Turkey and Russia ever since that incident where Turkey shot down a Russian fighter jet. But in this particular issue, he's putting the blame squarely on the shoulders of Russia, more so than
Assad. You mean Assad?
Oh, sorry, I apologize. On Assad, more so than on Russia. But again, he sees the dynamics and the politics of all of these countries, and he's very politically savvy about that.
Eamon, great job. That's an exclusive.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Howard Dean. Thank you.
All right. Obviously, that was CNN audio. Thank you, CNN. Now, I do have a couple other stories I want to finish out my show. And I do have a special I'm going to announce. We are going to not only carry the debate, the presidential debate on Monday live, we're going to have a roundtable after the debate. Now, we're not preempting any shows. We're going to have a separate server doing just the debate coverage. Now, once the debate's over, we will switch back over to the regular server depending on what time the debate ends, or keep running on the special server depending on... We'll actually probably keep running on the special server. And we'll probably take callers. We haven't decided. We're still working on the details of the roundtable. But we've got some great people. Jen from Jen and Rick, of course. We've got Wright from Robinson and Wright, Defend Wall Street, aka Bill. They're all in. So this is going to be a fun roundtable. So this could be a blast, all right? So I'm going to encourage you, turn off your TV, get to your internet, and listen to us, because we're not going to talk over the politicians. We are going to let the debate speak for itself. All right? All right. Now, we are also, and I'm going to kind of sneak this in, we are also planning special election night coverage of a very similar kind. We are still working out the details. We have a while to go before election night, but I am going to encourage you to turn off your TV and join us at KLRN Radio. And Station Manager Ann has given us the green light to run 2 audio streams. So you'll still have your regular programs on the main stream. The second stream will be the special coverage. So you will actually have choices. You don't want to hear about the election, you want to hear your regular shows, by all means, you tune into the regular stream. You want to hear the special stuff we have going on, you tune into the special program stream. You won't see it on our website until just before the debate, so don't go looking for it yet, but it will show up. I promise you. Station Manager Ann says she's worked out how we can make this happen. That way we don't have to preempt any shows. So the Stafford Voice will air regular time on the regular stream on Monday. Then there will be a special events coverage stream. probably right near the regular stream. Anne hasn't told me where she's actually going to put it, but there will be a special stream available. We'll have the chat room up and going and everything for the debate and post-debate coverage. I think this is awesome. And a big shout out to Rick Robinson for getting together the round table. And I will be actually running the board. So I will be probably poking my 2 cents in. However, you guys all know, well and good, U.S. politics is not my forte. Alright, now I have one more article I am going to mention real quick before I get out of here. No, I'm not out of here yet. Alright. The International Organization for Migration says more people are opting to voluntarily return from their home countries rather than staying in host countries as migrants. This is as of a report released today. It says it has assisted more than 51,000 people leaving host countries, most of them leaving Europe in the first 6 months of 2016. By comparison, the organization helped about 69,000 in all of 2015. If the rate continues, 100,000 people are on track to leave their host countries by the end of the year. The top 3 countries people return to are Albania, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The majority of the people left Germany, which has been flooded with migrants in recent years. So, like I said, people are tired of being called migrants and refugees, and they are going home. I thought this was an interesting fact. And on that note, you know what's coming. Yep. I'm out of here!